What addiction is seen as completely normal by society? TikTok. The algorithm is insanely good at keeping people on it for long periods of time. My attention span has improved so much since deleting it. I also feel like the app was purposely feeding me content that made me feel insecure and then feeding me ways to fix those problems via products. Attention, some can't see the truth that they are out there trying to compete against one another and can't understand why people don't like them, so they try harder. It's an endless loop because they will never be happy with what they have already. Life. It's so weird to me how some people will go do a thing, and when they're doing the thing, they're spending the entire time taking photos of themselves or having their photos taken, and if they're not doing that, they're heads down at their phone checking how many likes their previous photo got. Shopping. Online shopping, especially. I deliver for USPS and there are several houses on my route that get new clothes nearly every day. Energy drinks. Caffeine in general, really. Caffeinated soda is the most consumed beverage in the US. 100%. The amount of students I've taught who spend all their pocket money at the local corner shops, even though in UK it's illegal to sell them to under 16s, on energy drinks and stash them in bags for school, even without parents' knowledge or permission. It's an addiction. Surprised no one has said this, but lottery tickets. I have a friend who wastes at least a third of his income on scratch-offs, and just gambling in general. I watched him clean off a scratcher for $100 just to go spend it all on more scratchers that only ended up winning $10. Then complained about being broke and asked me for money, lol. When I worked at a grocery store, I would see people spend so much money on scratch-offs and lottery tickets. I never saw anyone win more than $100. I was 18 and found myself spending at least $3 a shift on scratch-offs. Once I took a best to realize I was spending $15 a week, I realized that was equivalent to a tank of gas. I was gonna say cocaine, but okay. Not crack, but cocaine is hugely accepted within pro sports, celebrities, rich people, so on and so forth. It's definitely frowned upon for the most part, but it's also not meth or crack. You'd be surprised at the amount of people who do it. People you'd never think of. It's a big secret a lot of the time, but it's extremely popular. Cocaine is everywhere. You go to college and find that everyone smokes weed. Then you get into the professional world and find everyone does cocaine, lol. Alcohol, honestly. Like, yeah, it can get bad enough that people see it as a problem, but it is way later than it should be, and alcohol is so much a requirement for people to have fun that it's kind of sad. I know people who will not date people who don't drink. A friend of my wife's recently was sent a photo of her friend by her fiancé, who is a doctor, who was giving her 4 fluids at home because she was so dangerously drunk. It was done in a jokey manner. My wife and I were concerned, but we're so the minority with that group that it fell on deaf ears. Though, pretty inarguably, the latter is into the it's a serious problem kind of thing, but everyone's acceptance of alcohol just kind of makes it a fun little anecdote. Her brother passed out with his eyes open in a locked bathroom. They had to break the door down. I thought the kid was dead. Another fun anecdote. I think it was just that group, but I hear these fun stories from so many people. Endless scrolling. But I can't stop. So many more comments to read. My scroll wheel broke years ago and is just constantly going. At full speed. It isn't an addiction, I am being held captive at this point. I have learned to live with it, but writing emails is very difficult. The fact I am able to even type anything out at all is a miracle. If NLMDFSTV. Consumerism. It's such a weird thing how much this takes center stage for people at some point. I feel like once people earn money for some years, all they talk about is what they bought, how much it cost, and how much they think I thought it cost, just to tell me that they paid 20% less than what I expected. It's like the default way to occupy them once they are no longer at work, buying stuff, thinking about what stuff to buy, and talking about what they bought. Social media. Everyone is always on social media, even I am personally an addict. I'm constantly taking pictures for my Instagram, posting on my Snapchat, or scrolling through TikTok. An endless cycle between the 3 apps. Here in the UK, our drinking culture seems to have no issue with people always being in the pub or people needing a pint at work at lunchtime to get through the time. Only people who are homeless and your stereotypical junkie type seem to be ever labeled as alcoholics. Weirdly as well, some seem to celebrate alcoholism and show off how much they drink. Smartphones in general, I'd say. So many, myself included, are unable to put their phones away completely during social settings. The phone follows you everywhere now. I remember the days when I would read the ingredients on the nearest shampoo bottle while taking a shit because there was nothing else to do. Edit, I forgot to add the procrastination it causes. As we speak, I've been putting off a jog for at least 2 hours by browsing Reddit instead. Distilled water ammonium lauryl sulfate glycerin FDNC blue number 4 fragrance. When baking soda toothpaste came out, there was new content. Sugar. I've gone from drinking a 750 milliliters bottle of whiskey per day, smoking like a chimney, roughly a pack per day, to now 3 years completely sober. I still can't curb my sugar addiction. Overeating. I am completely addicted to food, and it's embarrassing. I eat like a glutton. I work out every single day, I play sports every day. If I had some eating discipline, I would have looked like an athlete. Instead, I have muscles and fats. When I tell people how much I work out, they say they can't see any effect of it. I literally feeling like crying. Wine addiction, and then they say, I'm not an alcoholic. Lady, you drink a bottle a day. I'm pretty sure you are, because wine is still an alcoholic drink. Also, the normalization of wine mom culture and all the clothes/decor/paraphernalia that they make because I need a drink to get through little Timmy's soccer game. I think it's slowly being phased out like the live love thing, thankfully. Anger addiction. Certainly, being outraged about social problems can result in effective social action. Being outraged feels more powerful and active than sadness or empathy. Try expressing thoughts and prayers and take a look at the angry responses from people who associate anger with empowerment. Walking around in a constant state of outrage, even if it's justified about a certain thing, may eventually cause people to redirect their anger toward every minor irritant in their lives because it has the illusion of control and power. Anger can also escalate into destructive behavior that is not effective in addressing whatever problem needs solving. Being angry all the time can't be good for mental, physical, or emotional health, or for the people who have to encounter the angry person. In America, living to work. 60-plus hour work weeks and never taking vacation out of a weird loyalty to a company that will lay you off without hesitation if the bottom line is at risk. Always hated the idea that you are supposed to give your workplace a 2 weeks notice, and yet they can drop you on the spot for pretty much any reason they want. And if they really want to, they will find a reason. Workaholism. F that. There are more pleasurable things to be addicted to. Hustle culture and neglecting your sleep and social life in order to hustle more. Sufficient amounts of quality sleep are one of the most important things you can do to live a long and healthy life, as important as diet and exercise. And you need a social life, be in with friends or playing games online, etc., in order to keep your mental health good. Drinking and smoking are the obvious ones, but sugar is a hidden demon. I've been weaning myself off it for the last 2 months. My quality of life is night and day in comparison. Alcohol. Porn. Very true. Although it's not as much accepted as things like coffee and sugar, watching porn is seen as a common thing, especially among young people. Sadly, many forget the downsides of porn, like unrealistic fantasies, sexualizing stuff that shouldn't be, and plenty of other bad effects that I noticed when I fell for this trap, and even more once I fully stopped doing that. Edit, by unrealistic fantasies, I mean insane sexual expectations/kinks. Money. So normal that I can't find anyone mentioning it. People are encouraged to get as much as they can, more than they need, and any attempt to cut them off can provoke anger and retaliation. Instead of being addressed, the addiction is tolerated, if not defended. A billionaire may often be portrayed as a success rather than someone with a worrying, socially damaging problem. Righteous indignation. So much of our world has become addicted to the endorphin rush they get when they work up a fit of righteous indignation. They get to point their finger at that bad person and proclaim their own victimhood. It is not only acceptable, but even lauded. It happens on the small, individual scale, and on the large, even global scale. This addiction has become the single defining characteristic of modern political discourse. This addiction has torn apart families, ruined friendships, and if it continues unabated, will destroy democracy.